we are 1 day away from Boston Celtics training camp kicking off, so I wanted to give you guys a little update on Kristaps Porzingis. Unfortunately, I can't give you the update which I really want to do. That is, Kristaps Porzingis is ready to go and will be ready to play the first game of the season. That's the update we all want, right? Well, unfortunately, this is more so just a how he's recovering update, because he's still going to be without the Celtics for the first few months. But before we jump into that, I have one quick question here for you guys, and that's if you're ready for Boston Celtics basketball, go on ahead, hit that like button for me, because guys, training camp starts tomorrow, which means we are 1 month away from the Boston Celtics regular season starting, and we're about 2 weeks away from the Celtics going to Abu Dhabi to play the Denver Nuggets in the NBA preseason. So why do I think Kristaps Porzingis is on the right track here? Well, he's been posting several updates on his Instagram story, letting Boston Celtics fans know that he's working, that he is here. He is ready to go as much as he can in terms of being an emotional support for the Boston Celtics basketball team, because we do know he will not play until earliest December, latest that January start time for Porzingis, who had surgery in late June after the Boston Celtics won the NBA Finals. But Tim Bontemps gave an update as to how his recovery is going, and it's really good signs. His recovery has gone along without incident so far, but Porzingis is expected to be out for at least the first couple of months of the season. We knew that back half, but we didn't know that front half. The fact that he is doing extensive recoveries, I've seen his workouts, he's really making sure he's getting shots up off that right leg, still monitoring, leveling that left leg there, but he's been still working on his basketball skills and working out in the equipment room to make sure that he's still upholding his strength, to make sure that he is still ready to go, so whenever he is fully healthy, he can play for the Boston Celtics. So far, so good. The last thing we would want is any setbacks for Kristaps Porzingis to come back to the Boston Celtics. But there's also one other person that I've been trying to keep an eye on for no particular reason other than the fact that he's just old. He's 38 years old, and that is old in NBA standards. But Al Horford, he's perfectly healthy. He's perfectly fine, knock on wood. But you're also wondering, how is Horford doing going into the season knowing his workload just got 10 times bigger with Kristaps Porzingis being out the first 2 seasons? And Al Horford did just go talk to CLNS Sports in an exclusive interview talking about how he feels ahead of training camp, because, I mean, he's been at this thing for a really long time. Al Horford said, "It took me a lot of years to get to this point. And we finally won. Looking into this season, it doesn't change. For me, I love the competition. I love this journey that we're on right now. And I just feel like we're in a really good place. I feel like we are in a good place, and I want to help us achieve all of that." Knowing that Al Horford mentally is feeling good just as well as physically gives me a lot of hope that the Celtics don't just have to throw away their first 2 months this season because Kristaps Porzingis can't play. Horford can hold down the fort. We were never worried about that. The only thing that I am worried about is Horford playing back-to-back nights and leaning on Luke Cornett, Neemias Queta, and Xavier Tillman, who have proven on a really good night they can get the job done. But they've also kind of shown us that they're not the most reliable options out there. So now the question heading into training camp in the regular season is, how is this going to affect the Boston Celtics lineup when it comes to the regular season not playing with Porzingis and not being able to play without Horford on back-to-back nights? So I have a question here for you guys real quick before I deep dive into how the Celtics could really play this season without Porzingis. My question here is that Al Horford played 65 games last year as a 37-year-old Dominican father of 5. How many games do we think we're going to see at Al Horford again? Completely healthy Al Horford. Could we see 65 again, 15 less than the regular season games? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me tell you guys real quick about our sponsor here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. If you guys are looking for an easy, no prep, no mess meal, then go on ahead and check out Factor. Factor is something that I particularly love using when I am balling on a budget, but I also still want to make sure that I'm getting nutritious food into my body, because your girl is always trying to watch her figure. She's always trying to make sure that I got the best produce going into my body day in and day out. And with Factor, knowing that you can have Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. That is my favorite aspect because I love to eat good, but I do not have enough time in my day to whip up some filet mignon, to whip up some blackened salmon. But the chefs over at Factor Meals do, and they make it so that all you have to do is prepare it in 2 minutes. With over 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you're always going to have new flavors to explore. So if you guys want to go ahead and make your day delicious and keep your time out of the kitchen, head to factormeals.com/chatsports50. Use code chatsports50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code chatsports50 at factormeals.com/chatsports50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is still active. And I will also put it in the comment section underneath this video. So let's talk about how the Boston Celtics lineup is going to drastically change without Porzingis, because it is. Because you're also still going to have to mix it up to throw different things at defenders, because defenders will start to get used to Horford in the paint. Then they'll have to readjust when Porzingis comes back. So how can the Boston Celtics still stay competitive without having their top center in their starting lineup or in their lineup at all? Honestly, in my opinion, because you have so many different offensive weapons, I would really rely on the offense for the first 2 months. I would focus on scoring more than the other opponent, and I'm okay with high-scoring games. But one thing that you should really keep an eye out here for is that you could see Boston running with a little bit smaller lineups, or they could really stack that rim protection. They can go either way, because you could use somebody like Derek White, Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser, and kind of take that guard perspective of the high scoring. Or you could maybe do a Neemias Queta and a Baylor Shireman down low in the post, in the paint, to really make sure their post is all good and the rim protection is taken care of. Add on with a Jayson Tatum or a Jaylen Brown that's up there, 6'8", 6'9", and you can focus on the rim protection side. I think it's just going to depend on who you're playing. Because remember last year when the Boston Celtics had this beautiful problem of figuring out whether they want to go big ball or small ball? And if they wanted to go small ball, that would mean Derek White and Drew Holiday were in the starting lineup. Or you move Horford to the 4 and put Porzingis at the 5, and that would be your big man lineup. But here's what we're forgetting. Now that you don't have Porzingis, and you know Derek White and Drew Holiday are solidified in your starting lineup, you forget sometimes that Tatum, 6'9", can play the center position. And he has done it multiple times in the regular season. To be exact, 4 games in the regular season for a total of 18 minutes, Jayson Tatum was locking down the paint. And he actually didn't end up doing that bad of a job. And this wasn't a lineup that had very small ball oriented. It had Holiday, White, and Hauser. And then it had Brown. So Brown's going to be your 4. Hauser will be your 3. And then Derek White and Drew Holiday will take care of your backcourt. But Tatum as that 5, they had an offensive rating of 134. A defensive rating of 112 is not bad at all. And then they shot effectively. Here's the kicker. This is where the high offense comes from. 64% effective field goal percentage is how Jayson Tatum runs that offense when he is going to be the center. They're going to focus on outscoring their opponent rather than protecting their rim and making sure that opponent doesn't score as much as they do. And I'm okay with the offensive side of the ball. If that means just for a little bit, having to put up 120 points to beat somebody like the Sixers, then I'll take it. Because it's going to be different without having Porzingis. But you don't have to necessarily just rely on the bench players of Hauser and Pritchard, even though I know, the bench players that we really got used to this last year. This is a huge year for role players to step up. And I know that Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla are going to just want to run back the lineup they had last year of the Neemias Queta and the Xavier Tillman and the Peyton Pritchards, and that's fine. But multiple players could step up and really fix this issue internally rather than spending money and going out to get a free agent or a trade. And there are 5 players that can step up at several positions to help out and make up for that lack of having a 7'3" Latvian unicorn in the paint. And I'm really looking here towards the backcourt of Jaden Springer coming in and helping out Peyton Pritchard if Drew Holiday and Derek White need a break because they're playing small ball lineups. Jaden Springer could have a huge role at that that shooting guard position, pairing up with Peyton Pritchard. Baylor Shireman, Al Horford had nothing but great things to say about the impressive Baylor Shireman that he has seen so far at training camp, and same thing with somebody like Xavier Tillman. We also don't know what the two-way player Anton Watson can do just yet. Jordan Walsh may be in the position that he could either flop or rise. And I hope it's rise, but so far in Summer League, he hasn't trended that way just yet. And then Neemias Queta, who only can go up from here. Neemias Queta is a rim protector through and through, but the basketball IQ, the court vision needs to improve for his role to get larger. Overall, when I look at what the Celtics are dealing with this upcoming season, you might see more guard-heavy rotations if you were to add a 3-guard in there, like a Holiday, a White, a Pritchard, a Springer, just because you have to make up for the lack of size that you may have without Porzingis for 2.5 months. That's the thing. It's not just a 5-game series in the playoffs, and you can put Horford out there for 5 straight games. This is 2.5 months. Horford's going to need a break. And Luke Cornett, Tillman, and Queta can really still prove to be that answer in the paint. But just in case that's not working, I would either go with a guard-heavy rotation or a stacking of the rim protectors, and maybe even pull somebody in there like a Baylor Shireman to get that height, to get that width, and to get that post protection. So the Celtics could have a very unwavering first 2 months here trying to figure out their identity without Porzingis. So don't be afraid, but there's a lot of basketball to be played after December. So my last call to action here is if you guys believe in the Boston Celtics, regardless of who they're playing on that court, and you think Banner 19 is not that far away, go on ahead and hit that like button for me.